What is up with Chapter 4? First, the Shockwave hammer keeps getting nerfed, and then the Deku smash is too powerful to be kept in the game. Now even Mantling had so many issues, it was vaulted temporarily. It seems like this season, Epic just can't seem to go 5 minutes without a game-breaking exploit being discovered. Luckily, these broken features are just the tip of the iceberg, and we've seen worse. So let's take a look at some new and classic moments where Epic gave the player too much power. The Shockwave hammer has been a huge source of exploits this season, and in all honesty is probably one of the most broken weapons to ever be added. From insane damage to infinite rotations, one of the greatest exploits happened when it touched water. No, not infinite fish, we'll get to that glitch later. We're talking about infinitely bouncing across the map if you collide with water at exactly the right time. This glitch is so broken, it's nearly impossible to counter during the late game. Epic has done their best to patch the item, but even then, it's not enough. However, at least the weapon is back after getting fixed. One weapon that will definitely not be coming back is the Deku Smash, which is insane because it should have been just as popular as the Kamehameha Wave. Not only was this crossover item too powerful, but there were rumors that it could cause epileptic seizures. Of course, sometimes rumors are just that. However, one thing was for certain. Players were also using this item to trick players into thinking they were suspended in mid-air. Deemed too powerful and too broken, the mythic was vaulted from Battle Royale forever. Mantling over objects while dashing is probably one of the best new mobility features in Chapter 4. However, it has also been a gateway for one of the most broken exploits ever. Players essentially discovered that in certain cases, mantling on vehicles could send you flying into the stratosphere, combined with the redeploy perk, and it was an absolutely broken mess. However, it got worse. Mantling over normal objects would also teleport you to different areas, and another neat trick you could do with cars is create a save point to teleport back to wherever you first got in the car. In response, Epic has been tinkering with mantling lately in an attempt to get it working properly with no exploits. The feature was removed temporarily, causing many players to wonder just how many new features would be left after all these glitches, but luckily it was added back in during the most recent patch. Could you imagine if it got vaulted forever? Do you want to start your Fortnite career? Then click on the link below and visit ProGuides.com. For $7.99 a month, you can gain access to our entire catalog of lessons in Fortnite and beyond. Go from noob to pro and show your friends your mad skills. Come find out how you can take an extra 10% off our pro coaching opportunities. Yeah! As if Chapter 4 couldn't get glitchier, the next on this list is an item that can shoot through walls. That's right, if you manage to get your hands on the Shadow Tracker pistol, the first thing you need to do is go hug a wall. Why? Because up close, the weapon would go through the wall, allowing the bullets to hit your opponents on the other side. It was essentially a free win. Did you know you could kill the entire fish population on the island? Once again, the Shockwave hammer was at the center of the exploit. When combined with the Jelly Angler, you could spam the fishing pole, then smack the same spot with the hammer to give you more fish than you'll ever need in any match. The Excalibur rifle was broken when it first came out. It wasn't long before people figured out that the damage could completely annihilate an opponent's box. Even after getting patched, it was still a formidable weapon. However, there was one fatal weakness nobody expected. If you got hit by an Excalibur, you could literally dance your way out of it. That's right, you could emote to negate all explosive damage. One of the newest exploits needs a few ingredients to get started. What do you get when you mix an impulse grenade, a motorcycle, and a shield keg? You get blasted off the map and instantly die if you touch the border. However, sometimes you'd get lucky and the blast would get you across the map safely. This wasn't the first time Epic made a broken vehicle, and this time it required no other ingredients. When quad crashers were first first added to the game, the thrust was used to fly across the map. It was also great for some sick trick shots. Of course, this got nerfed when quad crashers made their return in Chapter 3, but another exploit came to take its place. It is every Fortnite player's dream to fly, and the lack of quad crashers wasn't going to stop them from trying. This time, players stacked crash pads on top of each other to get as much needed boost, which sent them flying once more across the island. See, Epic? This is why you need to involve the planes already. Of course, one of the classic exploits made it impossible for players to see you. Back during Chapter 1, Season 6, Epic added shadow stones, which helped with mobility. What Epic didn't expect was for players to find an exploit which let them go invisible during the entire match. Now, for the question of the day. You ready for this? If you could unpatch any weapon and just have the exploit become a feature, which would you choose and why? Leave your answers in the comments section down below. Not every broken item or mechanic comes in the form of an item though. You can even find them in the shop. Pay-to-win items are nothing new to Fortnite. Sometimes it has a slight animation that gives you an enemy's direction or even slightly raises your FPS. However, this skin in particular was just too OP. The superhero skins were customizable and many players figured out they could trick the human eye by going completely black or completely white. Eventually, Epic had to remove these skins temporarily to get the situation under control. Fortnitemares is one of the coolest events of the year. So, can you imagine if Epic dropped the ball on that one? During 2022, fans were treated to a somewhat lackluster event. Stranger Things never made a comeback despite being absent for ages, and decorations were almost non-existent. The one silver lining was a brand new weapon known as the Howler Claws. At first glance, they weren't perfect and lacked the spooky vibe, but soon players figured out how to use these weapons to become invincible. Unfortunately, the festivities didn't last long, and Epic vaulted the Howler Claws for a few days to fix them. Even quests related to the items were taken down. Did you know that the red dot weapons have always been broken? Back during Chapter 3, Epic introduced the MK7 rifle. It was a cool first-person weapon, but it had an absolutely bonkers feature. Someone at Epic must have messed up, because the weapon had no recoil. However, if you thought that was glitchy, you should see what Epic did with their current red dot weapon. This season, Epic introduced the Red Eyes rifle, and it had a secret cloaking device. If you entered a semi-truck and moved over to the passenger seat, you could aim down the sights and exit the vehicle at the same time to make your weapon go invisible. Red dot weapons come in two flavors, broken or busted. So how about an exploit you can do using no items? Chapter 4 accidentally introduced a way to cut your line for a faster landing. All you had to do was quickly gather enough mats to cross over to the snowy island on the other side of spawn. Then you would need to quickly make a snowball and enter it before the clock struck 0. If you could do this before the match started, you would drop off the bus and land first every time. Does anyone remember the golden age of traps? Well, Epic accidentally brought them back towards the end of Chapter 3. As the chrome consumed more and more of the island, Epic released a new item known as the Porta Bunker, and it wasn't long before people started jamming them into hot air balloons. Soon, anyone that wanted to use the hot air to rotate towards another location were finding themselves hitting a ceiling and crashing down to their deaths. If you want to go pro and impress your friends, don't forget to click on the link below and visit ProGuides.com. That wasn't the only game-breaking glitch during that season. Using the shield bubble, it was actually possible to make builds that floated in the sky, leading to some pretty fun sky basing. The best part was that these sky bases didn't collapse when disconnected. So, it was time for some sniping. Speaking of high ground superiority, this chapter we have evolved past our need for sky bases. Mix the party time augment with the mechanical archer and bow specialist, and you won't ever have to worry about high ground again. Players have been using this combo to stay elevated during the end game and either pick off their opponents with their archery skills or send them flying into the storm using the Shockwave effect. Either way, it was an absolutely broken combo. Fortnite has been around for quite a long time now. So, how many of you were there when one of the first exploits popped up? It might not seem as crazy when you think about it now, but double pumping was once considered a game-breaking exploit. Being able to pull out a second shotgun and deal massive damage essentially dominated the early Fortnite meta. Unfortunately, this was patched, and with pumps being vaulted for a whole chapter, it's possible we might never see a proper pump meta ever again. What glitches will come out tomorrow? Or even next season? The world will just have to wait and see. But you know what? Fortnite hasn't really changed at all. That wraps things up for today. Did you enjoy the video? Leave a like and ring that bell or you'll start glitching out. Once again, this is Zephyr, and we'll see you on our next exciting video.